Alright guys, I'm going to give you a quick look at this Hemi in the daylight there. So I think somebody thought maybe these things have piston failure. And not so much piston failure on these early model Hemis. It is the valve seat issue. They're powdered metal. And after so many miles, the valve seat loosens up and the head falls out. And there is no clearance in the chamber on a Hemi because the piston is sort of a dome shape. And the way it fills the combustion chamber, it's got those two flat spots on the wrist pin ends of the piston, and any material that gets in there always finds its way right there and smashes the ring landing off the piston. These are hyper eutectic from the factory, and they have a very thin surface between the crown of the piston and the top ring, so the piston isn't very strong for any kind of debris or anything hitting it. You know, these motors aren't bad. I used to work on alcohol funny cars, and it's not even close to being similar. You know, it's more the name tag than anything. It is a hemispherical combustion chamber, so I guess they can call it a Hemi. And the spark plugs are you know, in the center of the valve cover, and I think that's about where the similarities stop. You know, the bottom ends aren't the same. The race Hemis are more constructed like a Y-block Ford, you know. They have a very deep crank area and cross bolt main section. And those hemispherical motors, you know, when I was working in the funny car thing in 1995, we were making 32 horsepower with, you know, the Brad Anderson motors. That was a TFX block with a set of stage, I think, 7 heads on there. And we used a Whipple supercharger. We'd run about 45-50 pounds of boost depending on, you know, where we were at. But this comes from the valve seat failure. You know, it's a common problem. And first time I saw this, a friend of mine bought a truck, barely new truck, and he had this happen to him, and I tried to help him with it. He never would have suspected to look deep in the motor like this, so he ended up letting the truck go back to the dealership and never fixed it. But just as well, because it wasn't under warranty, and if we would have got into it, this is a very expensive repair. You're looking at a minimum, I think they charge $35–40 a seat to cut them out and install them. And this head would definitely have to be welded, because I'm guaranteeing you that's in water if you pressure checked it. And it looks like this time it lost that whole intake seat. Right here is gone. You can see the valve sitting down on the aluminum, but there's no seat left. And the other thing that you can see about these heads is I think that this could be not an issue if people service their car. Like I said, it seems to happen at about 125,000 miles, 120,000 miles, and you'll notice from looking at every one of these valves, some of the exhaust valves aren't that way, but every intake is sunk into the port. Every intake is sunk into the seat. So as that valve wears and, you know, pulls on the seat harder and harder, I think that that's part of the failure process. I think that if these heads were serviced, probably it looks like at about the 80,000 mile, it's almost like a timing belt replacement, maintenance, you could probably not have this issue. So if you have a Hemi and it's a pre 2008 is when they addressed this problem. Up to 2008 they were dropping the valve seats out pretty much on a regular basis until they went to the chrome moly hardened seat from the powdered metal seat. This continues to happen. So the 4.7s also did the same thing, the motor that was the predecessor to this one, but it had other issues. This isn't a bad motor, it makes decent power, and somebody made a comment that the later model ones make more power, and that is definitely obvious. Every time you take the heads off of one of these older Hemis, you can see all the carbon, and you notice all the carbon buildup in every combustion chamber. This car gets around a little hard. I know it had a K&N air cleaner on it and stuff, but you'll see all the carbon on the pistons. And then let me flip the head over and show you the intake ports here. This is always a sign of a bad tune. You know, if you had a performance motor, this would be a red flag. You see how dark the ports are? it's getting a ton of reversion in there from shitty cam timing. So the cam timing is what they addressed on these to make them more powerful. You know, cam timing is everything. You can make or break the way a motor runs. And these were basically set up for gas mileage and decent power. But they since pulled more power out of them. I don't think the gas mileage is quite as good. But they definitely can make some power. Somebody said these didn't make much power, but I've seen a couple of these at the track that run really well. You can buy the factory race car that they sell. They sell the Challenger. I know the Chevrolet's got the Copo Camaro. You don't see too many of the factory Dodge race cars. I'll take you over to local paint shop here in town, and they paint almost all of the super stock cars and stockers that Dodge put out. So maybe we'll go over there and take a look at one of their race Hemis. They're built off the 6-liter, the bigger model, but the cars are pretty trick from the factory. So this can be addressed, you know, it can be fixed. It's not a hard fix. It is an expensive fix. Like I said, it's about $800 to have these heads fixed. You know, a new set of heads is the way to go on this. Somebody told me to pick up some 2008 and later. I don't know, those will bolt on an early model block. The other thing that I suggest when you do one of these is definitely to soak the push rods in oil, soak the rocker arm assemblies in oil, and make sure you keep the rocker arm assemblies in order. You don't want to mix the rockers from one side of the motor to the other. And you need to replace the head bolts on these or torque the heel. So you torque them 45 pounds, 65 pounds, and then 90 degrees. So replace the head bolts or it can cause you issues. So, what's up, kitty cats? The kitty cats are active today. I gotta go to the city and work on a Cadillac, and then we're gonna come back and knock this bus out today. The heads off of that, that was the main thing I needed to get done. I got all my pieces for this still, finally. I got the right wheel cylinders. I already freed and greased those adjusters, so this side will go pretty quick. Really should probably have a set of drums, but we're gonna clean these up and try to use them. And we'll get the other side apart. A little tip when you're doing a brake job, no matter how easy it is, just do one side at a time, so you always had a road map. So I just left this side together just in case. It's taken 4 days to get the parts, and you know, we'll let you know how the springs go and where all the clips are. These are fairly simple. They got a bar, a clip, 2 springs, and a wheel cylinder, and 2 shoes, 2 adjusters. So not a lot to misplace there. But anyway, that's what's going on. Still don't have the Christmas tree in the house. Garage is a friggin' mess. But maybe today I'll get to clean some of this up. Gotta find a crank for our 1600 build. And I don't know how this is gonna go. It's probably gonna turn into a motor. I don't think they're gonna fix these. So we'll see. Being that we got damage on both sides of the motor, we'd be buying 2 pistons. That's the other thing. I did try to buy a TRW or a Seal Power replacement piston from my engine warehouse that I use, and you can't use the replacement piston if you're going to do this job. You got to buy the piston from the factory. And the cool thing about this is it happens so often that they have a package that they sell. It comes with the piston, the rings, the rod, and a set of bearings on the piston already. It's already assembled. So I bought the Seal Power piston, and I want to say I paid $64 for it. And it had rings, had a wrist pin, but it had no rod and no bearing. And you know, by bearings, I mean, you know, the bearings that are in the big end. And for $89 you get the rod, the piston, the ring package, and the rod bearing from the dealer with new rod bolts, which I think is pretty important. A lot of these late model rod bolts require a stretch gauge. You know, you can't just torque them down to 45 foot-pounds and assume that the rod's tight. You want a stretch bolt, stretch gauge the bolt. Make sure it has the proper clamp load on the rod, or you can run into some real issues. Sort of a torque to yield bolt like the head bolt. It has to stretch to have the clamping power to hold the cap on. But anyway, so the parts are available at the dealer. It's a pretty nice looking rod. This is what they call a powdered metal rod. You know, it's cast flat. We used to polish the beams, make them all smooth back in the old hot rodding days, and these are done from the factory. So the rod looks like a nice piece. Like I said, the bottom ends are pretty strong on these. It's the seats that are the issue. You can tune these, recam them, and they run really well. So that's the issue. It is a roller cam motor, but you know, it's just very detuned, and they started putting more and more power into them, and they're pretty decent motors now. But anyway, there's the rod out of the last one. If somebody'd like that Hemi rod, you know, PM me, let me know, give me your address, and I can send that out to you. So if you're a Hemi fan. But anyway, that's where we're at. That's what we're doing, and I'll take the camera with me, and we'll go down to the city and check that out. I got a roof from hell down there on a Cadillac. We took a vinyl top kit off the roof and had to fill all the holes and do body work on it, so it's a nightmare. Anyway, that's what's going on. It's definitely a John Kerry day here. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thanks for all the comments. Just wanted to say that I've been trying to answer some comments on the videos, and for you guys that are new to my channel, I do often answer your questions that you have in the video. So because I don't type the answer back on my videos a lot of the time, I am dyslexic. That's why I don't answer every video and or every comment, and that's why a lot of times the answers are very short. So I do apologize for that. That's the one flaw with my channel. It is hard for me to communicate with you guys other than through the video. That's the great thing about YouTube for me. A lot of you guys can put stuff on paper and you don't think twice about it. You know, you can write stuff down, you can type comments, you can get into chat forums, and YouTube's let me communicate with people that I would have never been able to communicate with just by pushing the record button. So that's pretty cool for me. I can usually you know, articulate through a video much better than trying to put it on paper, because I would have to have help from somebody to put it on paper, and you know, sometimes what I want to say isn't the way they want to write it. So a lot of times you know, when I type something, it gets lost in translation because I'm getting help. I did have Turbo Cobra help me with some software, you talk and it type software, and to be perfectly honest with you, the setup process was too hard for me to get through. You have to repeat sentences, you know, they'll say a phrase and then you repeat it, and that's part of the problem of being dyslexic. When you take me out of the world that I'm used to, you know, cars and paint and you know, what I've grown up around, it's very hard for me to say words that I'm not familiar with. So if I don't use the word and I have to repeat a word, it's hard for me to even pronounce it. So it was hard for me to get through that software. I do appreciate you know, Turbo Cobra trying to set that up for me. I'm trying to get that computer back. The computer got hijacked from me from my wife, and I want to get the software out of there and try to get that set up, because if I could get that set up, I could definitely be more involved in my channel and answer more questions. I think a lot of it too is a lot of the guys, a lot of my old time subscribers that used to be active on my channel maybe didn't want to get scroogled, so they didn't sign up for the Google Plus thing, and you know, they can't comment on my channel. So I signed up for it. I don't really see much difference in it, you know. I know that anytime you guys make a post or comment on a video now, I can see it over there. I can click on that and I can see what's going on. So haven't really seen the disadvantage of it, you know, yet. And again, for you guys that can articulate on paper and write stuff down, you know, you guys can get pissed off about it, you know, and say it's an invasion of privacy and stuff, but this camera is the way that I'm able to talk to you guys, and YouTube let me do that. So I probably won't stop making videos. I really like it. It's a way for me to talk to people and interact with people for sure. I'll definitely try to start answering more questions as I get caught up. Been sort of buried here and sort of starting to get caught up. But I'll either answer the question that you have there through a video such as this, or you know, I'll get somebody to help me respond to your question. And then you can always call. I had somebody call yesterday. Pete sent somebody my way. I appreciate that, over at Southwest Rod and Customs. And Andrew talked to him. I was out here working, but a real nice guy. And he's having some pain issues and some other stuff that he needs help with. And you know, ended up talking to that guy Andrea did for a couple hours last night on the phone, I think. So pretty cool, the little network that we got going. You know, sometimes we got disagreements, but I think it's a pretty good group of guys, and I'm proud to be a part of it. So here comes Andrea now. She's enjoying the Titan. And I went and saw Scooter yesterday. Kenny was having lunch, and I told him the transmission was working excellent.